So let's talk about something called the efficiency paradox. It's this really fascinating, kind of counterintuitive idea that connects having these huge, massive ambitions with, well, what looks a lot like being lazy. If that just made you sit up a little straighter, then yeah, you were definitely in the right place.
I mean, does this sound like you? You've got these giant goals, right? You can practically taste the victory, but the actual grind, that slow, step-by-step, day-after-day stuff, it just feels like a total drag. If you're nodding along right now, trust me, you are not alone.
And really, that's the heart of the problem, isn't it? Society is constantly telling us, you gotta put in the hours. It's all about the 8-hour grind. But inside, there's this little voice, maybe not so little, screaming, no way, this is inefficient. There has to be a faster, smarter way to do this.
So that brings us to our first big idea here, the myth of the grind. Let's really dig into that internal struggle that so many, lazy, ambitious people feel because they just don't fit that old school mold.
It's super frustrating, right? You've got these massive dreams, but the path everyone tells you to take feels like you're building a pyramid one tiny stone at a time. And all you can think is, guys, isn't there a crane we could use? It's not that you don't want the pyramid. You just think the method is, well, inefficient.
And of course, that feeling leads you right down the rabbit hole of self-doubt. You start asking yourself, what's wrong with me? Am I just lazy? Do I not have the discipline everyone else seems to have? It's a really common fear, but stick with me, because the answer is probably not what you think.
Okay, so this is where things get interesting. Let's flip the script and introduce a totally new way of looking at this, the efficiency mindset. And look, this isn't about finding a fancy excuse. It's about a complete reframe, seeing that laziness as a powerful drive for being as efficient as humanly possible.
And now we can actually put a name to it, the lazy ambitious paradox. The key thing to get here is that this is not a flaw in your character. It's a specific way your brain is wired, a cognitive profile. Your brain is just hardwired to find the absolute shortest distance to the biggest reward.
Seriously, let that sink in for a second. That thing you've been beating yourself up about, calling a personal failure, it's not a bug. It's a feature of your own personal operating system. You're not broken, you're just running a different, maybe even more advanced program.
Okay, so what does this different program actually look like when it's running? Well, it's basically built on what we can call the 4 pillars of efficiency. Let's break this mindset down pillar by pillar.
All right, here are the 4 pillars. We've got strategic procrastination, the path of least resistance, mental overstimulation, and finally, selective hyperfocus. These 4 things together are what really define that lazy, ambitious profile. So let's jump into that first one.
Pillar number 1, strategic procrastination. Yeah, I know, it sounds like a total contradiction, but it's absolutely crucial. This isn't just putting things off because you don't feel like it. It's about subconsciously waiting for the perfect moment to dive in and get it done.
And this is where the superpower comes in. A lot of people with this trait will wait until the deadline is breathing down their neck. That intense pressure kicks them into this incredible flow state, and boom, they get done in 2 hours what takes other people a full day to do. And the work is good too.
Next up, pillar 2, always looking for the path of least resistance. Now again, society might label this lazy, but in this new model, it's actually a hunt for the smartest, most elegant solution. Why would you waste energy climbing a mountain if you can see a way to build a tunnel straight through it?
Honestly, this is where innovation comes from. That deep, deep desire to avoid boring, repetitive work is what forces you to invent shortcuts, to build better systems, to automate the grunt work. You're not just saving your own mental energy. A lot of the time, you end up making things easier for everybody.
Okay, pillar number 3 is something called mental overstimulation. This is that tendency to build entire empires in your head. You don't just sketch out a plan, you live it. You run through every possible scenario, tweak every little detail, and basically perfect the entire thing in your mind before you've even written a single word down.
Now, this one's a bit of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, the benefit is huge. When you finally do start, your plan is practically flawless. But here's the risk. That mental simulation can feel so real, so satisfying, that your brain gets a little hit of dopamine and thinks the job is already done. And that can totally kill your motivation to actually, do it.
All right, our last pillar, selective hyperfocus. This is the big one. It explains how you can look completely lazy and checked out doing one thing, and then, on another project, you're like a superhero of productivity. It's not that you don't have energy, it's that your brain is holding it in reserve, like a battery.
And that battery only goes to 100% when a project really truly clicks with your big picture vision, when it matters. For all the other stuff, the boring meetings, the tedious tasks, your brain just hums along in low power mode, saving its juice for what's important.
So, you take all 4 of those pillars and you put them together. What do you have? You have an innovator's instinct. So now, let's stop just describing this thing and start talking about how to actually use it as a massive advantage. So here's the big takeaway. Let's do a little translation. What you used to call lazy, that's actually your brain searching for efficiency. Procrastination, that's a trigger for intense focus. Daydreaming, that's sophisticated mental simulation. And your focus, it's not unlimited. It's a precious resource your brain is built to protect.
So, the real message here is simple. Stop trying to patch what you think is a bug. It's not a bug, it's a core feature of an innovator's mind. Your brain wasn't designed for the slow, boring grind. It was designed for breakthroughs.
And so I want to leave you with a question. Now that you have this new lens, this permission to embrace how you're wired, what's the next big problem you're going to solve by deliberately looking for that smarter, faster, more elegant path of least resistance?